This isn't easy. It's quite noticeable that I haven't been making any videos lately, and there's been a lot of changes. I've moved house, I got a promotion at work, and I also had my heart broken. On May 9th, I received a phone call while I was at work, and it was my dad, but I could tell from his voice that he was about to tell me something that wasn't good. Now, my grandparents are in their 80s, and I think it comes to a point where you kind of realise that you're not going to have them around forever. But he wasn't calling me to tell me that I'd lost my grandparents. He had to make the difficult phone call to tell me that I had, in fact, lost my 29-year-old brother, Rhiane. Rhiane, who was the chain link for many, many friendships, outgoing, funny. He was the biggest cheerleader for anyone that ever did anything, whether it was creative or whatever you wanted to do. And he was a huge, huge advocate for equality and making everyone just feel great. Unfortunately, he lost his battle with his mental health. Whether it's a family member, a friend, a pet, grief comes heavy, engulfing us with its physical and mental symptoms. It's something that we all go through, and unfortunately we have to go through it several times throughout our lives. It's the consequence of being alive, but grief is just another shade of love. You can feel your head trying to process thousands of thoughts, trying to figure out what's just happened, trying to come to grips with the fact that you will never get to see them again. Regret storms in. Maybe it's things you wished you'd said more, or maybe it's things that you wish you hadn't said. Anger. How could this happen? Who's to blame? Why did this happen? It's not fair. Fear. Fear that you will forget them, their voice, their smell. Fear of your own mortality. How fragile life really is. Sadness. It doesn't feel like a big enough word for how heavy it sits in you. You feel yourself fading away. Every emotion is intensified, but you need to feel it. You have to be able to process everything that's just happened. You have to feel it all. You're not wrong to feel any of these emotions, but what matters is how you deal with them and how long you hold on to them. And the more you try to avoid it and pull away, the tighter its grip will have on you before you can no longer ignore it. And this is when grief becomes a very personal journey. There is no end point destination. It's a journey without an ending, because the ending is when we die. Grief just becomes that extra weight that we have to carry with us. At first, we struggle. Our steps are staggered. It feels overwhelming. But over time, as we carry this weight, it just feels a little less heavy than it did at the beginning. And as we go through this journey, there's a sudden fork in the road, and we still have choices to make. And whilst everyone will give you their opinion of which way to go, only you can make that decision. Through trial and error, you learn what will make you feel better, what feels good for us to heal. And grief becomes like a scar. The open wound is painful, and if we ignore it, it will only get infected. But if we give it the care, the tenderness that it needs, then it will start to heal. And this is why grief is like a scar, because as that cut heals, it doesn't disappear, doesn't go back to how it was. It leaves a mark to remind you of what once was. The thing is we don't heal to forget or to go back to how things were, because that's impossible. But we heal to adjust to the changes of this new world that we've now been born into. And the only way to get better is to go through it. But this is a reminder of the love that you have. Loving a person doesn't just stop because they're not around anymore. And so we learn how to live with this kind of love. Without them here physically, but with them here in our hearts forever. I list several reasons why documenting my life is really important to me. And whilst this video is over a year old now, I still stand very strongly by the points that I made, and I think you can benefit from it too. So hopefully I will see you there.